Hello, everyone, and welcome today to Lifetime Adoption's Q&A webinar for hopeful adoptive parents. I'm Kim King, and I'm here with Heather Featherston, and we're excited to answer the questions that are on your minds as you plan, explore, and research your adoption options and learn more about us here at Lifetime Adoption. We are a licensed child placing agency in the state of Florida. We have been assisting birth parents and adoptive parents nationwide for many, many years and have completed adoptions in every state across the nation. If you have any specific questions about your state or any specific questions that go unanswered today, feel free to email those to us at apply@lifetimeadoption.com. If you're brand new to getting to know us here at Lifetime, we would love the opportunity to get to know you as well, and you are welcome to fill out the application on our site. That is a great next step in your research process because it truly gives you what options you have here at Lifetime. Just by filling out that free application on our site and sharing about yourselves, it should take about 15 minutes. It gives us the opportunity to learn more about you and let you know whether or not we feel we can explore further and possibly partner with you. The application is at lifetimeadoption.com/apply. And I highly recommend filling that out, as I mentioned, during your researching phase, because then you're going to know what your options are before you're expected to make any decisions. So that is a great tool in your research and exploration process. Again, it's at lifetimeadoption.com/apply. And I do see here in our registration questions that you all have provided some great questions, including questions about the application. So of course, we're going to get to those in just a second. Heather, thank you for being here.
I'm so glad to be here, Kim. This is one of my favorite webinars to be able to join you for.
So Heather, let's jump right into the questions. I know this is our quick webinar, under a half hour here today answering all of the questions, and we've got several. Where would you like to start with these, Heather?
You know what? I will let you surprise me. I think it's interesting because this webinar, like I say, I love doing it because it's live. We can interact, we can answer questions, and it's really nice because it's right at the beginning of the process. And I think probably a lot of people have kind of similar questions. So go ahead, let's do quick fire, Kim, and start with what you got.
Sure. The application process. They'd like to know mostly about the application process, and secondary, they'd like to know about closed adoption options.
Sure.
So the application process, as I mentioned, is online here at Lifetime. It's at lifetimeadoption.com/apply. It will ask you some basic questions about yourself, like for your contact information, basic demographic questions like your age, and a couple of your preferences questions, a few basic questions that pertain to whether or not someone would be able to pass a home study. So they're kind of basic pre-screening questions. From there, we take a look at that and let you know if we can explore further, usually getting back to you within 1 to 5 business days. So inside of a week, you'll hear back and be able to start interacting with us. And most likely the next step will be to schedule a phone conference so that we can have a scheduled call if you're a married couple with both of you, of course, and we'll be providing some handouts and videos to help you both prepare for that call so that way we can all be on the same page. One thing that sometimes people leave out of their application that kind of makes a little hiccup is they forget to upload a photo. So be sure to upload a recent photo of the two of you to your application or email it to us shortly after, because that's an important part of us being able to get to know you. And of course, you can see all our photos on our staff pages on our website as well, so you can put a face with the name and voice as well. So the application process here at Lifetime, there is no commitment with it. There is no fee with our application. And as I was sharing before, filling that out, going through those basic steps, it really affords you that opportunity to truly learn what your options are here at Lifetime. And then when you're ready, if we're able to offer an opening, you're able to jump right in and we can guide you through those next steps. And as I always say, Lifetime Adoption is known for our step-by-step guidance. Now, on the technical side, when you fill it out, you should get an email within a few minutes letting you know that it did officially go through and will be being processed by our applications coordinator. You may even receive a text as well confirming that we've received your application in a technical manner. And then within that following business day, our applications coordinator, Becky, will be processing that for you. So you'll hear from her as well as she reviews it, pre-screens it for our review committee, and lets you know if we need anything else or have additional questions. So once you apply, just be sure to keep an eye on your phone and email for further communication and next steps. And you don't have to wait to hear from us in order to get any questions answered. You can always call, text, or email us to get questions answered. And any texts you receive from us, you can always reply and we will actually receive that. So it's some of our texts are, pre-written because it's automated. We're not really sitting here at 2 a.m. texting you after you apply, if that's when you apply. But when you reply to our text, we really do get that and we'll respond to you. So we really want to have that conversation and good communication. And we know that that is rare in today's world to have that level of communication and responsiveness in any organization, especially adoption. So we welcome that communication and do truly want to keep that
Mhm, mhm.
communication going with you. As far as closed adoption goes, well, most of our adoptions are actually the opposite, open adoptions.
They are. And many times when we talk to people who are wanting closed adoption, the first step is learning about really what open adoption is. And today in the US, most adoptions are open or semi-open adoption. And what that looks like is often determined by the birth mother. Here at Lifetime, we work with families who are open to an open adoption. I actually don't have referrals for closed adoption unless a family wishes to adopt internationally, at which point you're usually going to have children who are older or adopting a waiting child from the foster system. Usually those are closed as well. And the reasons are many, but probably the biggest ones are first and foremost, it's been proven that it is in a child's best interest, especially for a newborn adoption, when there is that information there, when there is that opportunity to know not only their story from the beginning, but also know who their birth family is so that as they get older, they can ask questions. They know, that you're mom and dad, but they grew in Sarah's tummy or whatever you choose to call their birth mother. And it just really helps a child understand that their story is nothing to be ashamed of. It's something to be celebrated and honored. So there's never that awkward time where you sit down with your child and explain how they came to be in your family and it wasn't biologically. These days, it is recommended and encouraged that families start talking about it from the very beginning, from the time that your baby is still in your arms. And part of that reason is twofold. One is the open and honesty. The other is as parents, as adults, that we can get used to talking about it, to telling the story, so that it becomes more natural when your child does begin to understand it at 3 or 4 years old. There's wonderful children's books out today, board books and books for young children that talk about adoption and really make it normal, which it is. It's a very normal part of the process. It also helps birth mothers today have a peace in their heart that they made the right decision when they have the opportunity to choose the parents, to get to know the parents, and to remain a part of the child's life. What the future contact looks like is often something that you and the birth mother will talk about prior to adoption. And that really is the best time to talk about it so that everyone's expectations are the same. Then there's no misunderstanding or hurt feelings. We want to be sure that both you and the birth parents are on the same page. And typically, the open adoptions we're seeing are updates, maybe email, text, maybe letters and pictures, kind of old fashioned in that way. And then perhaps getting together once or twice a year for visits. I think one of the most surprising things, Kim, that adoptive parents find throughout this process is many times they go into open adoption with a little hesitancy, But once they meet the birth mom who's chosen them and get to know her, they find themselves wanting more contact than they, maybe even than she's comfortable with, more
Mhm.
certainly than they thought they were open to. Because birth mothers are, you know, by and large, beautiful women making difficult choices. Many of them could parent, but they want more for their child than they can provide right now. So, closed adoption, I guess the question was on closed adoption. We're not able to work with families who want a closed adoption. And like I said, for newborn adoption, I do not have any referrals in the US.
Right. So that's a great question. And I think anytime it comes to the topic of open adoption, if someone's brand new to learning about this or just hearing this term for the first time, it can be a little scary maybe
Hmm.
because you have questions about what those risks are and the security and the legality. And we have lots of information to share with you. And
Hmm.
rest assured, your adoption is secure and there's no
Yes.
confusion over who the parents are, anything like that.
Right.
If you'd like to receive more information about open adoption, I'd love to send that to you today. So just email me, kim@lifetimeadoption.com. If you do email me requesting any information about Lifetime or this open adoption information that we've compiled for families, please be sure to include your first and last name as well as what state you live in. And that's very helpful for me as I continue to answer questions for you going forward. And I'll be happy to send you those open adoption resources if your heart is open to learning more. And I think that's just all we can ask, right? Just
Hmm.
open to hearing the
Absolutely.
information. It puts you in the best position because that knowledge is power. And when you are open to receiving that, you're open to the blessings that God has for you, for that child who is making his or her way to you, right there into your arms. And we want to be sure you know what you're saying yes to, and you also know what you're saying no to. And these
Hmm.
decisions aren't made out of fear.
Right. Right.
Yes, and we've completed thousands of adoptions, and almost every single adoption is open
Hmm.
adoption. And these days, they're practically all open adoptions.
Hmm.
So, Heather, home inspections,
Oh, yeah.
income requirements. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about
Sure.
what families can
Sure.
expect.
So, home inspections, income requirements, those usually fall under the um, the uh, the home study aspect of adoption. A home study is conducted locally by usually a social worker, and that's part of being a lifetime family is we provide trusted referrals to you of home study providers we've worked with in the past. But it's not really a home study, it's a people study. You will fill out some forms that they will ask you some ordinary questions. They might ask you some questions that feel a little intrusive about your past, but it's just trying to get a good idea of who you are, and they need to the whole goal of the home study is to approve you to bring a child into your home and adopt the child as part of your family. So they definitely learn about you. They will come and take a little tour that you give them of your home. It's not a white glove test. They're not going to look under your bed and, into your closet. They just want to ensure that your home is safe or can be safe for a child. And what I mean by can be safe, your home doesn't have to be baby proofed, especially if you don't yet have a baby. But, they may see something that they may give you some suggestions or tips on. For instance, if you have a pool, certainly most families with a pool have a gate to keep any children out and having an accident in that respect. But again, this is not a full scale safety inspection. It's if you have knives on the floor and sparking wires out of your wall, that'll be a problem. But most people have no problem with that. Many times I get the question, well, do we have to own a home? What if we live in a condo or an apartment? You're totally fine. It has to do with the space you live in. Part of the home
Mm-hmm.
study will also be background checks. You will have to get a note from your doctor. Again, just that have the physical ability to parent a child in a normal lifespan or life expectancy. Nothing that will prevent that. Um, Parenthood, that is. And just really, income wise, it's that you don't have to be wealthy. You just have to show that you have, between your income and your expenses, that you have the resources to add another person to your monthly budget.
Mhm.
Some states may have a requirement for health insurance. So most families have health insurance through their work or through their job, or if you're self-employed privately. And they may ask, if something happens to you, who would take care of the child? Do you have life insurance if, something should happen with one of you? But like I say, it really is more about a people study. At the end of it, they do write a report that they provide to your coordinator at Lifetime, and that will be required once you're matched with a birth mother and she signs her consents. That is when the home study is submitted with all of the other adoption paperwork from that the birth mother has signed. That is submitted for approval, and that becomes part of your adoption submission that then goes to the court, that then is approved, and then you adopt.
Mhm. As far as when to begin your home study, we do not expect you to have that in advance unless there
Mhm.
is a special circumstance. Most families just begin the home study process itself within the first few weeks of beginning the program here at Lifetime. So this is not information you're expected to know all about or have completed these steps in advance. In fact, most families that work with Lifetime do not have a home study, start their program, have their scheduled welcome call as a newly contracted Lifetime family, get the referral for a home study provider on our preferred list of providers in their state, and make contact and schedule their home visit and start filling out their paperwork from there and complete the home study within 6 to 8 weeks.
Mhm.
So there are many things we can be working on together while you are waiting for the home study provider to finish compiling that report, such as
Yes.
creating your profile presentation materials and providing all of the resources and education that we need and want for you to have here as a Lifetime family. So once you begin your program, that's really when those action steps are required.
Mhm. But we guide you through step by
Mhm.
step each of those.
Yes. So let's see, adoption experience for parents with biological children, or how to assimilate a child into a family with biological children. We had a couple
Ah,
people attending here with those
great.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's since we just talked about the home study, that is one thing that I forgot to mention that your home study provider is wonderful with, and that is providing education and tips for not only in preparation of that, but also after you're home with your child. Because after you come home, most states require what's called post-placement visits, and that's when your home study provider comes back just to check in, see how things are going, see if you need any resources or help. And she or he can be a great source of help both before, when you're doing some adoption education prior to, and then after, when they're coming back just to check on you to make sure everything is fine. Um, Also, it's just really it's funny because I just read about this a couple hours ago. It is really about anytime you're adding a child to a family. When mom's pregnant, you already have a little one. At some point you start talking to your child about having a brother or sister and those types of things. I will say one of the greatest tips I can give you is if your or children are young, don't give them too much information. You may not want to talk about that we're adopting until you're matched, because you never know how long things may take. And that built up of anticipation, an adult can understand that a little better than a child. So, you tell a 3-year-old, yeah, you're going to be a big brother or sister. And, it may take longer than a 9-month pregnancy. So, usually we say with those younger children, hold off on really sharing too much detail. But in terms of how to explain adoption to them, it's the same way you're going to explain it to your adopted child. start building a library with some of those children's books. If you see them at a yard sale or thrift store, grab them, pick them up. It's more information on how families are built. And that's really what it is you're sharing, is that, when you have your new child in your home, families are built biologically when moms get pregnant, and then they're also built through adoption. When, a mom chooses us for her baby because she sees how much love we have to share, and she wants her baby to be a part of our family too.
Hmm. And Heather, I know we've got just under 10 minutes remaining in our time together tonight. So if you haven't applied with Lifetime, be sure to fill that out at lifetimeadoption.com/apply. It should only take you about 15 minutes to fill that out, answering a few basic questions about yourselves and what you're looking for in your adoption. And as I shared earlier, it's a great tool in your exploration process. So we would love to receive that from you and continue guiding you through those steps, give you our feedback as to whether or not we can partner with you toward growing your family.
Mhm.
Heather, this is a really good question. This person wanted to know that what would be the next steps if an adoption falls.
Yeah, occasionally there is a case where a family was matched with a birth mom, and perhaps the birth mom had a change of heart, or perhaps a
Mhm,
birth father appeared out of nowhere and stopped the adoption. Um, what happens to a family who's in Lifetime's program is we pick right back up where we were and we keep moving forward. There's no additional fees. There is, nothing, no time, nothing like that that is lost. Occasionally, families may want to take a break for a time, and we're happy to provide that opportunity, but we just keep moving forward. There's no, I know some other organizations, sometimes you hear, oh, we lost all this money, we lost this. With Lifetime Families, there isn't a loss. Now, the only loss there may be is one of the preferences families set when they talk to Kim or Jen or one of our other coordinators is we talk about birth mother expenses. Most states allow families to help and assist with reasonable and allowable pregnancy related expenses. Those could be food, transportation, rent, maternity clothes, cell phone, could be those types of things. And so, in the situation that a family has paid some of those things, those are funds that you have to think of those really like a gift. But we do at Lifetime try to help families really make the most of those funds that they do put toward that by providing what we can separate from a family. So it's very common for us to provide a birth mom with maternity clothes, with Walmart gift card to get her through until she matches with that family. So, to answer your question, Kim, when a adoption does not work out, there is no loss with Lifetime, with the exception of, like I say, the any expenses that may have been shared. It's good to understand that most birth mothers are not in the best of situations, or they wouldn't be choosing adoption. Most birth mothers are probably in their 20s. Many of them are often parenting another child already. Usually the father is not particularly in the picture, sometimes, but usually not. Some of them are drug users, most of them are not. They may smoke cigarettes, they may use marijuana. We don't see a tremendous amount of alcohol use. I would say all of them are choosing adoption because they have the understanding that they can't provide what their child needs or what another child needs. Meaning, if they bring this one home where they already have a child or children, it will be at the expense of their other children. There will be less to go around. Sometimes the
mhm,
moms we work with are homeless, so sometimes those expenses, need to go towards getting a roof over her head. We do have a network and resources for maternity homes and shelters, but sometimes just based on where a mom is, it's just not a reality. Um, I think I think probably excuse me, one of the things that can be surprising for families just starting to look into adoption is how much birth mothers actually care about their children. They are making a thoughtful adoption plan. They want to see the families. They want to learn about the families because they really want what's best for their child. And that is playing an active role in the adoption. And I think that's one of the strengths Lifetime has is helping families really narrow down what sets you apart. What about your family will a birth mother fall in love with? Because ultimately that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to show birth mothers families that not only are open to adopting their children based on preferences, but also, we want to show you for the amazing and awesome, families that you are. And many times it's more, all families can say, oh, we have so much love and joy to provide a child. Every family does, but that's one of the things I love about Lifetime's profile and presentation program is we really work to try to give you tips, give you help, give you photo suggestions of how to make you stand out. Because, it only takes one birth mom to see you, choose you, and say, you know what, that's the family for my baby.
Hmm. Heather, thank you for elaborating on that because many people do wonder what is a typical birth mom, what brings her to adoption, and it's just like you shared, just going through a rough time and just wants a different life than what she can provide. And she finds that in you and feels that connection with you as adoptive parents. And as I like to say, you become the answer to each other's prayers, the
Hmm.
prayers that have been on your heart. She has that on her heart as well. And then there's this meeting in the middle, and we get to help unite you and connect you and guide you through that adoption plan, including support after the adoption as well.
Hmm. Definitely.
Heather, I know we're just running out of time real quick, but someone asked length of process, financial investment needs during the process. Um, the amount of time that it takes to adopt really is unique to each family. It varies
Hmm.
greatly from family to family. Every family is unique, has different characteristics, family dynamics, as well as adoption preferences. The preferences play a big role in how often we can actually present you to birth. If you have a broad scope of preferences that you know for sure you would say yes to when chosen by that birth mom, of course, you're going to have more opportunities to be chosen, which can possibly mean adopting sooner versus a family that has a very narrow scope of what they can accept in their adoption.
Hmm.
Um, And we help guide you through establishing your adoption preferences, and we let you know, especially if we have any concerns about our ability to meet your needs. So we really want to partner with families that we can help. So learning your adoption preferences in advance is a big part of our application process that is all free to you. It's almost like a little bit of a coaching process that is free to you when you fill out the application. So as far as how long it takes, every story is different. Many of our families adopt within the first year or two. In fact, most do. Some may need a little more time. Some may even adopt in under 6 months. It's really all over the board because God's story and timing for every family is so unique. And it really relies on that birth mom choosing you, as Heather was mentioning.
Hmm.
As far as the cost, I have the information already compiled for you. So if you've not received our email with financial details, cost estimates on everything you're going to need from beginning to end, please feel free to request that. Email me, kim@lifetimeadoption.com, so I can get that over to you. Be sure to include your first and last name as well as what state you are living in. If you were able to attend this webinar but didn't maybe get the beginning, you can always request the recording as well by emailing me, and I can send over that link to you. Or if you want to share this webinar with a friend, I can send you the link as well. And if you are wondering how to fund adoption, I want to point out we have a great resources page at lifetimeadoption.com/financing. That's lifetimeadoption.com/financing. And there is a little 30-minute video there that walks you through how to fund adoption and the resources that most families have access to in adoption today. So
Mhm.
I hope today we've helped answer some of the questions that are on your minds, and we appreciate you spending this time and investing in that education process as you continue to learn, research, explore all of your options in adoption, and specifically with us here at Lifetime Adoption. And we would love to hear from you. If questions are on your mind, be sure to send those to your coordinator, or if you don't have a coordinator, just send them to me, Kim at LifetimeAdoption.com. You can also call in and speak with any available coordinator. So you can call in at 727-493-0933. And then we'll be happy to speak with you or give you a call right back. So we appreciate you again taking this time out of your evening today, and
Mhm.
we'll look forward to speaking with you on the next one.
Mhm.